Welcome to Finding Your Worth from Within, the podcast where I'm going to be helping you up-level your life, find your true self, and ignite the best version of you. I'm your host, Aman Sana, your go-to self-worth mentor, facilitating hundreds of women to unlock your self-belief, master your emotions, and take back control of negative thoughts. We're going to be covering everything self-worth for South Asian women, how to ditch your self-doubt, kick other people's judgment to the curb, and learn how to finally use your voice clearly and with confidence. With the practical tools and spiritual teachings that I give you in this podcast, don't be surprised when this magic begins to massively elevate your life. So whether you're going for a walk, driving home, or listening with a cup of coffee, let's get stuck in. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Finding Your Worth from Within. So today I'm bringing to this podcast an extension of something that I shared on my Instagram stories. So a few weeks ago, I shared a post that I saw and my perspective to the post. Now, I had a lot of comments, a lot of DMs about this. So I wanted to bring that conversation to the pod so that I could go in deeper and share my insights. Now, I'm going to try not to butcher this story, but bear with me. So this was a post I saw about somebody who had gone to stay with their mother-in-law. She'd gone to stay with her mother-in-law and she was saying that her mother-in-law is making breakfast every morning, but she doesn't like the breakfast she's making. And this woman wanted to go and get bagels from a shop that she liked. Now, it was along the lines of the woman didn't get those bagels where she lived and she really enjoyed them. She really liked them and she wanted to eat them every morning. But her perspective and her kind of approach to the mother-in-law making breakfast was, she keeps making it. I've told her I don't want it. I shouldn't have to eat her breakfast just because she's made it me. So again, in the comment section, there was comments along the lines of, oh my God, she sounds really controlling. You keep your boundaries, like all this type of stuff. And I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the world coming to? This is clearly the mother-in-law showing her love language. This is my perspective. Showing love language and making breakfast every morning because they've come to stay. She doesn't get to do it often. Maybe she doesn't get to see him a lot. And it's like, oh my God, I want to spoil you. I want to feed you. And all that was needed in this scenario was a simple conversation to say, Mum, I know you want to make a breakfast, like I really appreciate it, but I really want these bagels, or, why don't you come with me? We'll go to the bagel shop, something like that. Or if I get them in the morning, maybe you can make lunch. I know you love to cook and feed us and we're only here for a few days and you want to spoil us, but I don't actually get these bagels when I go back home. Like some form of simple conversation over, oh my God, it's my boundary. I should eat what I want to eat. And this was a perfect example to me of something where the world is becoming mental and we are over creating boundaries, like toxic boundaries. Like that isn't a boundary for a start, if I'm honest with you. It's not like, have a conversation. It's just two different wants. Have a conversation, and then after that, if something is required, put it in place. And it comes from a place of individualism. At the moment, society is, and these were the conversations in the DMs, at the moment, society is heading so far into individualism because we have gone so far the other way to what we used to be. It used to be like that. We'd get trained and people would we'd be people pleasing and be a doormat, and our parents would just do everything for anyone. And now society has gone completely the other way, but they're so far into individualism. There isn't any compromise. There isn't any, give and take. Individualism isn't going to get you anywhere but lonely. It's only going to head to loneliness. And I've been around people as well, which is mental, and in this industry it happens, I'm not going to lie. I've been around people
where they're like, oh, I just stopped talking to them. I stopped talking to so my friend because they were being toxic. Okay, fair. And then it's happened again and again and again. And you've got to question in life sometimes, what part is you shedding and just not aligning with that friendship anymore or aligning with that relationship anymore? And what part of you is saying, actually, I'm always right and you're in the wrong? Because we are somehow, by accident, creating narcissistic versions of ourselves by this whole concept of individualism, whole concept of I'm not bending for anyone being taken too far. There is one thing not people pleasing. There is one thing not being treated like a doormat. There is one thing not bending over backwards for it to drain you. There is another thing being a kind person, wanting to do things for people because you're a kind person. There is another thing compromising because you can see that someone's trying to give you love and care. There's another thing compromising because you're part of a community, part of a family. And again, I know sometimes people's family drains them. I appreciate that. I'm talking about like the part of the internet here that is going so far into toxic, whatever you want to call it, boundaries, toxic individualism. We don't even have to label it, right? It doesn't have to be labeled because, again, everything has to be labeled. But there's an area of the internet and there is a part of society who is becoming so detached from community because they are pulling themselves away so that they don't have to bend for anyone, that it's actually becoming worrying, because community is key. And let me tell you, community is where you are going to thrive. You're not going to thrive as an individualistic person. And don't get me wrong, again, I'm not saying like, if you've got social things going on, parties and stuff, we all get drained. We all don't want to go, and that's okay to say like, guys, I don't want to go to this. I'm really drained. Just need some time to myself. I'm not talking about those moments. Of course, fill yourself up. Of course, don't do things that are going to drain you over and over again. What I'm saying is, we can't go so far detached to anybody and make it all about ourselves, because that defeats the whole purpose of anything. We don't want to be alone people living in our own house, not having communication with anyone, not, being kind and sharing memories or moments with people because we're too up in our own head to not receive somebody's breakfast that they've made for us. Like, do you know what I mean? These are my insights on this post and the conversations that were happening in my DMs. And it's just a moment to reflect. And I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this isn't like this, because I know my audience, I know my following, I know my community. But it's when you see it out in the internet and when you see it on people, just recognize that, okay, these are the people that have taken it a bit too far. And maybe offer them a reflection to bring them back into community, perhaps, if they want to, obviously. You don't have to. Don't take it upon yourself. Lord knows what you may receive back. But these were my insights on this post. And from the back of the DMs and the conversations I had, I really wanted to share it on the podcast, because I wanted it to be somewhere that those that aren't on Instagram get to listen and that we could go deeper in. So those are my insights for today. I hope you enjoyed. As always, thank you for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Finding Your Worth from Within. If today's message resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you could follow, rate, and leave a review. Sharing the podcast with someone that you feel may benefit is the best way to help it grow and spread this important message. To stay connected between episodes, come hang out with me on Instagram. at Mentoring. Can't wait to see you there.